Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7 update 1.42. As usual, I'm going to go through all of the brand new engine swaps that are available with this update. There's actually a fair chunk of decent ones this time around, 10 of them in total, much more than what we used to previously get prior to 1.40, so definitely looking like this is going to be a ongoing thing, and well, I'm all for it. For me, this is the best part of the update. So let's have a look at the new engines first. So we have the Demon Challenger, a car from 1.40, which now gives its engine to the classic Dodge Charger RT 426 Hemi from 1968. As you can see, in terms of the stats, even on a fully upgraded one, it almost kind of tops out around about the same performance point rating just by having the engine swap itself. Looking like this could be a fairly decent one. However, I don't really know how it would work in this Charger. I feel like the sort of old base for this car and then putting in a Demon Challenger engine could be a little bit hectic. In terms of the next new engine that we have to the game, this is one of the Legendary Group C cars, the Jaguar XJ9. This has its V12 XJ9 engine now swappable into another legendary Jaguar in the form of the Jaguar XJ220 from 1992. It will turn it from turbocharged to naturally aspirated, obviously sticking in that V12 engine. Now, in terms of an overall swap, I could see this one being very useful. The XJ220 is a very powerful car overall, and essentially you are putting a very well performing and very, I guess, fuel friendly and efficient engine inside, so could definitely see this one being good and tunable for a lot of the kind of longer races in the game. Next up, we have the 1LR GUE LFA, or the LFA engine swap. Again, another car from update 1.40, which now lends its engine to a couple of vehicles. The first of which is the Toyota GR Supra RZ from 2020. Again, around about half the price of the V12 swap that we saw with the Jaguar. That was 1.6 mil. This one's still 850,000 credits. So yeah, not the cheapest in terms of this being a decent swap. I could see it working rather quite well and giving that Supra an amazing engine note to go alongside it. However, this isn't actually the craziest or the only swap that this engine can now do. So let's move on to perhaps the most fun engine swap of this entire lot. This is the LFA engine inside the Toyota Alphard, the obviously meme car itself that came kind of around the start of last year. Now gets its first engine swap in the form of the LFA engine. I could absolutely imagine this one being a massive hoot, and it is one that I'm literally about to do as soon as this video is out and done. So 850k once again, certainly the most funny engine swap of the bunch, and certainly one that I can see people having a ton of fun with. I've already heard reports that it's actually a decent swap considering the four-wheel drive and all that kind of stuff that comes with the Alphard. Next up, in terms of another new engine swap, is the M159 AMG GT3 from 2020, the engine that comes straight out of the 2020 AMG GT3 car. Now again, this is a post-launch car. First of its ever engine swaps goes into another one of the later cars to the game from 1.40, that being the Mercedes-Benz 190e Evo 2. A rather inexpensive swap coming in at 340k, one of the cheaper ones of this update, and again one of those that's going to kind of transform the car into a sort of, I guess, endurance racer, so you'll be able to tackle those longer races with literally no issue, considering the fuel consumption on these race engines is fantastic. Another one of the new ones is a rather unexpected one, the 3S GTE MR2, obviously from the 1997 MR2 that we have in the game. This is one that I just didn't expect. This one will go over for its first and only engine swap so far in the Toyota Corolla Levin 1600 GT Apex AE86 from 1983. In terms of it being a decent swap, I could see it working quite well. It's not really necessarily an overpowered swap in itself, 135k, so a very inexpensive swap, and certainly one that I'll be heading out to do on my other Levin. So definitely an engine swap that I'm rather interested in, as it won't be, I guess, too overpowered. Next up for the returning ones, and this is going to be the first of the returning ones for this update. This is the 2JZ GTE Supra, obviously from the Toyota Supra, a legendary engine swap itself. Now this one is rather quite weird though. It goes in the Toyota GR Supra RZ from 2019, so both of the more modern Supras in game getting two different engine swaps. 210,000 credits for this one. Again, as you can see from a standard perspective, it does actually take the performance point rating downwards, but again, in terms of the tunability, I would certainly say the 2GZ is absolutely an engine swap that you'll be wanting to do. Again, tons of customization options for this one and tons of power to be able to get out of it once you start getting into that fully upgraded territory. Definitely a worthy engine swap, and it'll be nice to see how that one works. Another one of the more commonplace engine swaps, the VR38DETT GTR Nismo, gets once again another new engine swap with update 1.42. So this is a swap that's been very commonplace for a bunch of different Nismo and Nissan cars throughout the I guess lifespan of GT7. Now it has a brand new one in the form of the Nismo 400R from 1995. Once again, another new car that came alongside update 1.40, getting its first engine swap, and yeah, really this one I could see actually working very, very well. It's a great platform already, the 400R, and you're essentially swapping out a, I guess, older engine for a more modern Nismo engine overall. So definitely could see this one putting a ton of power out. Considering the 400R fully upgraded already, is an absolute monster. In terms of another new engine swap, we have the HR414E NSX, another race car engine swap. Now this engine has been fairly swappable in a bunch of the road going versions of the NSX, however this time it's getting something completely mental. To be honest, there's no other way to describe it. You can now swap this into the garage RCR Civic, obviously the Civic based on the EG platform. This one I don't think would be the most practical, but I could definitely see it kind of coming out as, you know, a bit of a hidden gem of a drag car. Again, it's going to give it insane fuel consumption, considering this is a Group 2 engine, which is even a step above the likes of the Group 3 swaps, so really going to be a fairly exciting swap overall. However, I do feel that is going to be a lot of power going into a front wheel drive car. It's a shame that we can't kind of swap it to maybe 4-wheel drive or rear wheel drive and, you know, create a whole ridiculous track beast. Next up, we have the Windsor 351 Maverick, obviously coming out of the GAC Maverick. This one has proven to be a fairly popular swap since the car's addition, and once again this is getting another brand new swap, this time for the Ford F-150 SVT Raptor from 2011. So it's going to be able to go in the pickup. If we remember from the time that we were able to swap it into the Cayman, I could certainly see this becoming a massive 200 mile per hour plus pickup truck. Absolutely bizarre engine swap, and again another one that is fairly inexpensive and one that I'm going to head to do after this video is done. Can definitely see this becoming an absolute drag weapon in terms of those kind of events and, you know, those kind of community lobbies that people like to host. So yeah, definitely a bit of a wacky one, but I could definitely see it being usable in its own right. And that is going to be all 10 engine swaps for update 1.42. Now again, with 1.40 we did get a bunch of them as well, and it seems like this is a continuing trend. I would certainly go as far to say that in terms of the update itself, this is the best of the bunch, I guess. Really, it's better than the cars, it's better than the events, and seems to be the thing that people should really be getting most excited for.